music, and more.
S Media Academy Radio.
Excite.
All the hits.
Time check is 12 o'clock and it's time for the global news on Yes Media Academy Radio. I am Okpe Adeleke. First, the headlines. On COVID-19, Buhari donates PPEs worth 67 million naira to Sao Tome and Principe. On school feeding, federal government spends 523.2 million naira, not 15 billion naira, on 124,589 households. Governors protest nation's worsening security situation. Deputy Speaker, 16 other lawmakers back Izeyamu. As NDDC's 6.25 billion naira COVID-19 palliatives diverted, says top official. On the foreign scene, no silver bullet for virus, who wants as cases top 18 million. On football, CAF approves revised calendar for inter-club competition. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari has donated 67 million naira worth of personal protective equipment to aid the fight against COVID-19 in Sao Tome and Principe. The chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, disclosed this during a briefing by the PTF in Abuja. This donation follows a request by the government of Sao Tome seeking aid to help the country effectively manage the coronavirus pandemic, which is ravaging the world. Medical equipment donated includes units of test kits, extraction kits, infrared thermometers, and other items of personal protective equipment to treat and test thousands in Sao Tome and Principe. President Muhammadu Buhari has said the late Issa Funtua was a pillar of support to his government, saying his death is a national loss. Funtua passed away on Monday, July 20th, aged 78, with President Buhari in a letter to the family saying the late publisher helped his government in several ways. In the letter, written in language and personally signed by the Nigerian leader, Buhari told late Funtua's wife, Ajia Awa, the children and the family that Funtua's demise was not just a loss to them, but the country at large. Buhari recalled that in his active politics, Malam Ismaila served as a minister, stating that he was also a businessman and contractor who built several government buildings in Abuja. The president equally urged the family to stay your lives, have nothing but kind words for The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Shadia Umar Farouk, has dismissed the report that the sum of 15 billion naira was spent on the homegrown school feeding program during the COVID-19 lockdown. Giving an update on the minister's presentation at the Presidential Task Force press briefing held yesterday, the Special Advisor on Strategic Communications, Lima Oyelade, explained that the minister gave a comprehensive response to speculations and fake news circulating around sums purportedly spent daily on the provision of take-home rations under the modified homegrown school feeding program. According to her, the total of 523,273,800 naira was spent on take-home ration given to 124,589 households impacted between the FCT, Ogun, and Lagos states, respectively, between May 14, 2020 and July 6, 2020. The ministry, in obeying the presidential directive, went into consultation with state government through the Nigerian Governors Forum, following which it was resolved that take-home rations remain the most viable option for feeding children during the lockdown. governors have joined the growing list of Nigerians bemoaning the security situation in the country. They have planned a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari and the service chiefs to discuss this worrisome and rapidly degenerating situation. The state helmsmen conveyed their feelings in a letter to their counterpart, Borno State Governor Babangana Zulum, whose convoy last week came under attack between Baga and Monguno in his state while on a trip. The attackers were suspected to be fighters of the insurgent group Boko Haram. Zulum accused the military of sabotage. He criticized troops for not showing enough commitment to fight against insurgency. The governor threatened to mobilize hunters and members of the civilian joint task force to battle Boko Haram should the troops fail to perform after some time. In the letter to Zulum, the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi, described what happened to Zulum as one unwarranted attack too many, which epitomizes our collective vulnerability and the fragility of the country's security architecture. The 6.25 billion naira approved by President Muhammadu Buhari as COVID-19 palliatives for indigent persons in Niger Delta was diverted by the Interim Management Committee, IMC, of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Chairman of the Palliative Distribution Committee, I Chief Soboma Bo Jackrich, as alleged. Jackrich, in a petition he sent to both the Senate and the House of Representatives, prayed the two chambers of the National Assembly to investigate his claim with a view to compelling the Professor Keme Ponde-led IMC to account for the money. Incidentally, Ponde yesterday insisted that the National Assembly Ad hoc Committee probing the finances the NDDC were plotting to scuttle the forensic audit of the commission by discrediting it in their report. In the petition dated August 3, 2020, Jackson also accused the IMC of deliberately refusing to pay security contracts, thereby compromising the security of the region and fueling tension among the youth. Copies of the petition were sent to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, the Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, and all the relative committees of the National Assembly. Jackrich recalled that at the inauguration of the Palliatives Committee, the President made it clear that the 6.25 billion naira should be used to uplift the indigent and the poor in the Niger Delta. He said that the palliative distribution was officially flagged off in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, but lamented that today all of that can be regrettably described as a show of shame and a scam. The PDC chairman claimed that the IMC managed a camera party where it distributed some food items to an insignificant number of persons in the Niger Delta to falsely give the impression that the palliatives had been distributed. 17 of the 24 members of Edo State House of Assembly are backing the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Pastor Osage Izenyamu. Deputy Speaker Yekini Idiaye, who represent Akoko Edo Constituency 1, and 4 other members also pledged support for Izenyamu. Idiaye was on Monday joined by Emmanuel Agbaje, Akoko Edo Constituency 2, Nosayaba Okumbo, Orimo East Constituency, Dumes Ugia Babi, member-elect of Via North-East Constituency 1, and Vincent Uwadaye, member-elect of Via North-East Constituency 2, on a solidarity visit to APC standard bearer at his home in Benin, where they declared their support. The lawmakers said that they would not leave the APC for another party, assuring Izenyamu of their loyalty. They said that they would soon begin mobilization of voters at the grassroots to ensure his victory on September 19. The deputy speaker said he had no reason to join Governor Godwin Obaseki in his defection to the People's Democratic Party, PDP, or back his re-election, noting that the non-performing Obaseki administration had failed to initiate any developmental project in his constituency despite his intervention efforts. Human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, San Femi Falana, has called on the National Assembly to probe the conditions of the Nigeria's foreign loans totaling about $79.5 billion. Speaking during an interview, Falana wondered why much emphasis should just be on the $3.1 billion to be secured from China. According to him, the masses are being misled by leaders of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, and those of the opposition party, PDP. Falana also knocked the federal lawmakers for not complaining about those multiple taxations dictated by Western imperialism, while admitting that every country has the right to enter into an agreement with issues relating to loans. The senior lawyer maintained that the National Assembly is required by law to look at the terms and conditions. In doing this, Falana asked the Ministry of Justice to always scrutinize the terms and conditions of the agreements to benefit of all Nigerians.
Must not allow the leaders of both the PDP and APC to confuse us as far as these loans are concerned. In the first place, do we really need these loans? If we husband our resources, do we need loans? Last year, I wrote a letter to the leadership of the National Assembly setting out how the country could recover $105 billion, either diverted from the Federation account or withheld from that account. The Senate President wrote me a polite letter, we're on the same page and we are going to ensure that these funds are recovered. Between then and now, not less than $32 billion have been approved as loans. Now, we have to understand that by virtue of Section 21 of the Debt Management Establishment Office Act, loans that are meant that are to be approved by the National Assembly, the National Assembly is required to study the terms and
A week after a freak accident claimed the lives of some bus passengers at Ilasa Maja bus stop in Lagos State, the mother of one of the victims is seeking for justice. Mrs. Chineze Ajoku, who is a widow and the mother of 27-year-old Chidima Ajoku, who died alongside her colleague while returning from work, wants the state government and other relative agencies to see to it that the unlatched container-laden trucks are prohibited on our roads. Ajoku, while speaking, said the government should investigate and know who the driver is and the owner of the vehicle, while it is not latched the way it is supposed to be, she said. While calling for the prosecution of the driver of the truck, Ajoku noted that the move by the state government will serve as a deterrent to other errant drivers. It was learned that the truck fell on the commercial bus while discharging passengers at Ilasa Maja bus stop, leading to death of 2, while 3 others sustained injuries.
My heart is shattered in pieces. Even my children, her siblings. Sometimes I wake up, they are crying in the middle of the night. They are missing their sister. It hurts that if she was sick, it would have been better for us to cope. But just killed in cold-blooded like that, how can we just accept this thing easily? You just don't.
The World Health Organization said it had completed the groundwork in China to probe the origins of the new coronavirus, as it warned there might be another silver bullet for COVID-19. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom urged governments and citizens to focus on the known basic steps to suppress the pandemic, such as testing, contact tracing, maintaining physical distance, and wearing a mask. Tedros added that the basics of public health are most effective for now, saying that wearing a mask in particular was sending a powerful message to around that. On COVID-19, Buhari donates PPEs worth 67 million naira to Sao Tome and Principe. School feeding, federal government spent 523 million naira, 273,800 naira, not 15 billion naira on 124,589 households. Governors protest nation's worsening security. Deputy Speaker, 16 other lawmakers back Ize Inyamu. NDDC 6.25 billion naira COVID-19 palliatives diverted, says top official. No silver bullet for virus. Who wants as cases top 18 million? And on football, CAF approves revised calendar for inter-club competitions. And that wraps up the news as edited by Olatunde Idowu and brought to you hearing by Okpe Adeleke. Many thanks for staying with us.